Zoom. This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, well, we'd like to go ahead and get started. First of all, we'd like to welcome everybody here to our January workshop here at the Florida Outreach Center for the Blind. My name is Jason Goldfield. For those who are not familiar with who I am the assistive technology instructor here at Florida Outreach Center for the Blind. I'm also one of your facilitators and one of your presenters as well today. I'm also proud to have with me two other facilitators. We have Shelly Sawyer and David Goldfield, and they will be presenting their respective pieces to our workshop as well. Uh, for those who are not familiar, this workshop is actually on TV and video streaming services, both app based with subscriptions and talking about some pieces of some streaming services that also relate to hardware. Um, when we were putting together this workshop, we were kind of looking at the different aspects of what exactly constitutes a streaming video service. Okay, sorry about that. What constitutes a video streaming service? And if we sat here and tried to cover everything that we knew about, we would be here for hours, but we're not going to be obviously doing that. We kind of had to pick and choose kind of what we knew and kind of what was popular and what most people are doing. During this presentation, we will be uh, actually demonstrating some of these services, both hardware and software, and with the exception of a few, because of lack of time and lack of equipment, we will only be able to at least mention them or have a brief discussion with them. As just some ground rules, some housekeeping rules before we actually do jump straight into our presentations. First of all, as you all know, when you come in, you are muted, and we ask you that you please stay muted at this time. And this is to minimize any background noise or any interruptions during our presentations from any of our wonderful presenters. We will, however, have plenty of time for questions and answers after our presentations, and for that, we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. And we will definitely go over how to raise your hand, and depending on the method that you have chosen to use to dial to come into our meeting today here on Zoom, either by your smartphone, your computer, tablet, or by telephone, there are multiple ways of signaling that you want to raise your hand and how to unmute yourself. So we will get to that point in our program towards the end. So we appreciate everybody's patience at this time. So we'll jump straight into it, and we'll get straight to our first presenter today. Um, I'd like to introduce at this time David Goldfield, and David is going to be showing us and talking about and demonstrating a little bit to us about the Comcast platform on the Xfinity system for those who have Comcast, and the accessibility behind the X1 box and some of the cool features that that box allows you to do for various types of streaming services. So, with further ado, I'd like to turn the floor over to David.
Hey, thanks, Jason. And thanks for inviting me um, to speak at your workshop. So, hi, everyone. Some of you may know who I am, and some of you might not. So, I'll just give a really brief intro of who I am. So, I'm David Goldfield, and it's not a coincidence that I have the same last name as Jason because I'm Jason's brother. Um, and I'm a product manager on the accessibility team at Comcast. And a lot of people, when they think of Comcast, the main thing that they think of is cable TV, which is understandable. That's what Comcast was all about when they first started, believe it or not, in 1963. It was about cable TV. So if you weren't interested in cable TV, you really didn't have anything to do with Comcast. That's obviously changed because now we offer internet and home phone and cellular phone service and home security. Um, but cable TV is still an important part of Comcast's product offerings. And when you think of cable TV, you usually just think of this box that's connected to your TV. And, you use a remote to move up and down to hear the different channels and the different shows that you want and the DVR. And all of that is true. But there are some additional options that some people may not know about. So, as Jason said, this is really about streaming services and streaming apps. So, there are a couple of pieces to this. The first, excuse me, is that if you have our cable TV offering, that's known, as Jason correctly said, as X1. That's the operating system that's on the box. Every device that you use has an operating system, right? A computer runs Windows or Mac, and if you're using an iPhone, that's running iOS. So you need an operating system to make the device do what you want it to do. And there's an operating system on our set-top box that we call the X1 operating system. And not only can you use X1 to access your shows and your channels and your DVR, all of which, by the way, is accessible. There's a built-in service on that box called Voice Guidance, which is kind of like a screen reader in that it reads all the different menus. But there are actually apps on the X1 box, just like you can have apps on your iPhone or on your iPad. There are apps that you can get on the X1 box. And as Jason said, some of these apps are for streaming other services beside X1. So just as an example, there is an Amazon Prime app. So you can, it's not really downloading the app because it's already on the box. You just open it up and you can actually watch all of the TV shows and other content from Amazon, including TV shows that you might have purchased, or movies for that matter. And some people might say, well, why would I want to do that? I could just get a Fire TV stick or Fire TV box. And you can do that, but the issue is if you get a Fire TV device, you have to switch inputs. In other words, you have to switch from where your cable TV is coming through to the other port where your Amazon Fire device is coming through. Whereas if you do everything on X1, you don't actually have to switch to another port, what's called an HDMI port. So there are some apps that you can actually watch on X1, including a YouTube app. And so you can actually watch your YouTube videos, and you can use a voice remote, a remote control that you can talk into to find content from these services. So, you could say, show me cat videos on YouTube, and it will actually give you a list of those types of videos, and you can use your voice remote to move up and down the list. So there are some streaming services that you can get on X1. One of the things that I wanted to show you guys today that a lot of people don't know about is that you can also watch Comcast TV content instead of on X1. You can use a computer or a mobile device like an iPhone, an iPad, or even a Fire tablet. You might be thinking, well, why would I want to use a Windows computer to watch TV or an iPhone to watch TV if I can just do it on my TV? And there are several reasons. In our house, um, we only have one TV in the bedroom, but my wife and I like to spend a lot of time in the living room. So what we'll do is on her iPad, we'll actually watch television from Comcast, either things on our DVR or shows on demand or other channels on the iPad. And it sounds, really, really good actually. And I enjoy doing the same thing on my iPhone so that no matter where I am in the house, I can access all the content on that. And for computers, it can be really nice. Um, we have a program for college students called Xfinity on campus, and a lot of people now don't even use TVs. They're just using computers to do everything. So a student in a dorm might not want to bring a TV and move that into their dorm room, but they all of them have laptops and iPads and all of that. So it's just another way to watch content from Comcast. And I'm actually going to show you this because a lot of people don't realize that we have this, not just blind people, but even sighted people. Um, I had a neighbor who's sighted who has Comcast, and she said there was some issue with her TV. And I said, well, why don't you use the Stream app and you can watch it on your iPhone or your Fire tablet or your computer. She said, I didn't even know that that was possible. So a lot of people don't. And not only is it possible, but it's really accessible. So I'm actually going to show you the Windows version of this. The name of the app, by the way, is called Xfinity Stream. Some people just call it Stream. And that will let you access all the channels that you have on your package, all the on-demand shows, and even your DVR. And you can even record shows right onto your DVR from the Stream app. It is accessible, as I said. And so I'm going to show that to you. If you use it on Windows, you don't have to download an app. Now, if you're using it on another device, you do. So you would look for an app called Xfinity Stream. If you're on an iOS device, you could go to the App Store and search for that. If you're on a Fire tablet, you would go to Amazon's App Store. On Windows, you don't even have to look for a program. You just go to a website. So it's what we call a web app. And that website is xfinity.com/stream. Xfinity is xfinity.com/stream. And if you just go to xfinity.com, you'll see a stream link toward the top of the page. So I'm actually on this website. Xfinity Stream can be used in pretty much any browser that you want. We've tested it in both Firefox and Google Chrome and all of the Google Chrome variants like Microsoft Edge, Brave. Those are not Chrome, but they're based on they're using the same software. It works well with screen readers, whether you're using JAWS or NVDA. If you're using JAWS, I would recommend that you use Chrome or a Chrome-based browser. I would not actually recommend that you use JAWS with Firefox because JAWS and Firefox are having some weird performance issues, and actually they have been for several years. So if you're using JAWS and Firefox and you're not experiencing a problem, that's fine. Continue to use it. But if you are using JAWS, I think your best performance is going to be with Chrome or a Chrome-based browser. If you're using NVDA, you can use Firefox with no problem, or Chrome, Edge, Brave, whatever browsers you want. The one exception is Internet Explorer. We no longer support Internet Explorer. And the reason why is not because we don't like Internet Explorer, but Internet Explorer is basically in the process of being retired by Microsoft. It does not include a lot of today's web technologies. So you're going to find over time that more and more websites are not going to work on Internet Explorer. And what we were finding with Internet Explorer is that it was working, but it was really, really slow. It was so slow, even on a fast computer, that it just wasn't worth using. So we no longer support Internet Explorer. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm using JAWS. I'm using the latest version, which is JAWS 2021, although it'll work with earlier versions of JAWS. And I am using the Google Chrome browser. And I have the stream page up. So I'm going to share my screen's audio so you'll be able to hear this really quickly. And I'm going to show you a little bit about what the Stream app actually sounds like and how it performs. By the way, you can access content with audio description, not only on the X1 box, but also on Stream. And I'm actually going to show you how that works. And you can easily turn audio description on or off, even while you're watching a show. So let me go into the Zoom window so I can share my screen. And I want to make sure that I am sharing sound, because if I don't share sound, then we're in trouble. Share screen button. Share sound checkbox checked. Share screen button. Okay. Share sound checkbox checked. Share screen button. All right.
You. For Usefinity Stream Google Chrome. Links.
Okay. All right.
For Usefinity Stream.
Now, I'm using one of the Nuance vocalizer voices called Nathan. It should be pretty clear. It's just my personal preference because it really picks up well on the high frequency response, which for me is really good. All right, so I'm on Stream, and there are several things we can do here. There is a menu, and getting to that menu is really, really simple because I can just, it's the first link on the page. So if I hit tab,
skip to main menu link.
Skip to main menu link. And that's exactly what I want. So I'll press enter.
Menu, Xfinity main menu. For you, 1 of 4.
Okay. It said Xfinity main menu for you, 1 of 4. And I think I interrupted the hint text.
Leaving menu. Menu, Xfinity main menu. For you, 1 of 4. Press right or left arrow to review items. Press down arrow to review submenu items. Press enter to select.
Okay, so we even added some hint text. Press right or left arrow to move through the menu items. Press up, down arrow to open a menu. Press enter to select. That is not something that JAWS is doing. That's something that we're doing. We're actually sending you that extra hint text. So I'm going to right arrow. The first item I'm pointing to is for you.
Xfinity main menu. For you.
For you. For you is sort of the main home screen that just gives you lots of different choices. It highlights different content. I'm going to move to the right.
Saved, 2 of 4.
Saved, that's 2 of 4.
Live TV, 3 of 4.
That should be live TV. That's not our fault. That's just the way the speech, it's reading it as live TV, but it should be live.
Browse, 4 of 4.
And browse. So those are 4 menu items.
Xfinity main menu, for you.
So we have for you, which is just the main home screen that just highlights certain content.
Saved,
Saved, that lets me see things like recordings on my DVR, or if I've purchased content, it lets me access that. So you can actually, just like other services, you can actually buy movies and TV shows, although many of them are free on demand, depending on the package that you have.
Live TV.
Live TV lets you browse the TV guide to see what channels you have and to see what's on those channels. That'll be the next thing I show you.
Browse, 4 of 4.
And browse is really for on demand. So I can browse TV shows and movies and lots of other things that are on demand, many of which are actually free. I'm going to go to Live TV.
Live TV, 3 of 4.
And I'm going to press down arrow to open this menu.
All channels.
And I'm pointing to all channels, and that's what I want. So I'm going to press enter.
Leaving menus. Skip to main menu. Skip to main content. All channel.
Okay. So there's a lot of things here that we can do, but I'm just going to jump
Channel 2 Met currently airing.
to the channel list.
TV list.
Press enter to go into forms mode. And now I'm in a list of channels. So the first thing.
Channel 2 Met currently airing in the heat of the night button application.
Okay. So read that a little bit quickly. It said channel 2, and it sounded like it said Met. It's actually MeTV, but that's just because of the way JAWS is reading that. And it even told me what was currently on that channel, currently airing in the heat of the night. So it's letting me know not only what channel, but what's currently airing. I can press down to move to the next channel.
Channel 3 CBS currently airing The Price is Right button. Press.
Okay.
Channel 4 Shopping currently airing Medicare plans with dental coverage button. Press enter.
Okay. I'm going to go to a channel.
Channel 7.
I'm just pressing down arrow to go to the next one. I can also, as you could guess, press up arrow to go to the previous one.
Channel 9 Fox current. Channel 10 NBC currently airing NBC 10 News Today at 11. Channel 11 QVC. Channel 12 PBS currently airing Sesame Street button. Press enter.
Okay. So there's PBS. Sesame Street is currently airing. If I press right arrow, I'm going to move through the shows on this channel if I want to see what's on after Sesame Street.
Sesame Street 11 o'clock at to 11:30 a collapsed link. WHYY 12.
And it said Sesame Street 11 o'clock to 11:30 WHYY 12. That's channel 12 in our area, in the Philly area, which is where I'm near. Channel 12 is the PBS station.
Peg plus Cat 11:30 to 12 o'clock p.
I pressed the right arrow and it moved to Peg plus Cat, and it told me that it was on at 11:30.
See Girls 12 o'clock p to 12:30 p collapsed link.
And then See Girls at 12 o'clock. I don't have children. I am really not up on any of these shows. So let's go back.
Peg Sesame Street.
By the way, if I pressed enter on any of these shows, it's not going to play it because they're not on yet. What it'll do is give me more information about that show, as well as the option to record it. So if I really want to record Peg plus Cat, I can do that.
Channel 12 PBS currently airing Sesame Street button.
Now, if I want to watch that, let's watch a little bit of Sesame Street. Something I'm sure all of you really wanted to do. I can just press enter, and what it should do is it should bring up the video player and start playing that content.
All channels Xfinity stream. Video loading. During playback, press tab to skip to the next control. Press question mark to review keyboard control.
Elmo dances beside Dorothy the goldfish, who swims in her bowl atop a bouncing speaker.
Okay, now let me pause this.
Link skip to main menu. Skip to main banner region. Change list. Xfinity. Unlabeled one. Menu. Xfinity. Leaving menus. Search region. Search. 12:30p. TV list.
Next, Elmo and Abby stand on
Privacy
Sesame
Center.
Street.
Privacy. All.
I'm finding out about science today. You know what? Elmo is absolutely
Link skipped. Skip to main content link.
Sorry about this. Hold on. It just put me-
Xfinity Act voice link. David button menu. All channels heading level. Video.
As they run off, Oscar walks up with dirty socks.
Stinky socks. Works every time.
Let me just reload this.
Watch TV
You
online.
may have noticed that you heard some video description because Sesame Street is actually described, and I have video description turned on by default. So you were actually hearing the video description.
Please wait.
Read that.
Skip to main menu. Now playing. Video loading.
Okay.
This browser has paused playback. Era TVA. This browser. Menu. Minimize. Full screen button. Close player button. Leaving menus. Play now button.
Let's play this.
This video cannot be played. We've run into a problem while
That's not good. I don't know why that happened. Okay.
skip to main menu.
Well, I'm going to have to figure out why that happened. So while while I'm in the video player window, what you can do is press V for video description, and that will actually toggle video description on or off.
Link settings.
Let's see if I can
All channels Xfinity stream.
play that.
Channel 2 met current link collapsed in the head of the TV list. Channel 3. Channel 7 S. Channel 12. Channel 12 PBS.
There we go.
Now playing. Video loading.
Because the
Okay.
best way to have fun
Menu,
is to play
more
safe
info
in
button.
There
the
we go.
sun.
Did you have fun today?
So
Video description off.
I pressed V and
Sesame
it said
Street
video
is brought to you
description
in
is
part
off.
by Chrysler
I
and the
pressed
Chrysler
V
Pacific.
again.
Video description on.
Okay, well they're doing the song.
Video description off.
If I press P,
Leaving menus. Watch button.
it pauses the video.
Menu. More info button.
And if I press tab, it will actually move through the different buttons in this player. So there's a more info button.
Minimize player button.
There's a button that says minimize player. That basically means it'll keep playing, but it will let me access other content.
Full screen button. Full screen
There's a full
button.
screen mode.
Close player
There's a
button.
close
X.
player button. And we also have hotkeys for all of this. So you'll notice that it
Full
said
close player button. X.
close player button X. That means at any time I can press X and the video player will close and I'll go back to the channel list.
Leaving menus. Play now button. Dismiss button. Watch button. Menu. More info
So I'm
button.
just moving through the tab key. I'm going to press X to get out of this player.
Leaving menus. Skip to main menu. Skip to
Okay.
11:29
So
a.m.
if a show has video description, you can press V to turn that on or off, even while the show is playing. If it's on a language track, you might have to press S for SAP for secondary audio program. If you are deaf or hard of hearing, you can also press C to turn closed captions on or off. The last thing I'll show you, and then we'll turn this over to Shelley, is I want to show you a little bit more about the player for something that I purchased. About 5.5 years ago, NBC did a show called The Wiz Live. This was a Wizard of Oz play that was done live, and they had audio description for this. So we have this, and I'm going to show you how that works and a little bit more about the player and some other things that I can't do with live TV.
Channel
So
2
in order to do that,
app virtual
I've gotta
PC.
go to the
All
main
channels.
menu.
Skip to main menu link. Menu. Xfinity main menu. For you. One of
and I'm going to go to saved,
saved.
and I
2
want
of 4.
to open the saved menu.
Recordings.
Now there's recordings, but I don't want that.
Scheduled. Favorites.
Favorite and
Purchases.
purchases, and that is what I want.
Leaving menus. Please wait. Skip to main menu.
Okay,
No more headings.
there we go.
No prior headings. Purchases heading level 1. Menu, purchased movies, The Wiz Live, 1 of 1.
That's what I want. By the way, all of the main content begins at a level 1 heading. So when I'm at the top of the page, I could just press 1 for heading level 1 or H, and it moved me right to the purchases section and skipped all of those top links.
Purchased movies, The Wiz Live.
So I want to go to the Wiz Live.
Leaving menus, please wait. Back the Wiz Live, add to favorites button.
Now, the first button said add to favorites. I can have a list of favorite TV shows and movies. I don't want to do that. I just want to start it.
Back button, add to favorites button. More actions button. 2015 Dorothy is swept up by a tornado, away from her home in Kansas, and relocated it to
the description.
Resume 111 minutes left button. Tab, related tab select 1. Resume 111 minutes left button.
So there's a resume button because I'd already started this.
Now playing, The Wiz Live, video loading.
Hey, this is
During
a mop with feet, and that's a
Okay.
big old scale.
Now what I
William
can
Jeans
do
arrives with a lug wrench
I can
and he
press
passes
left
it to
arrow.
Robert. Then he joins John.
backwards or right arrow
Mop with feet.
to skip a few seconds forward. So that's pretty cool.
All I can do is
I can
pray.
also press up and down
So
arrow to
choose the
change
path
the
that'll
volume.
lead you back.
volume 90%, volume 80%, volume 70%, volume 60%.
Now that's not changing the volume of JAWS, it's just changing the volume of the video.
Like
Move it
when
back to
you punch your
100%.
shit.
Volume 70%. Sample. Volume
I'm
100%.
going to move back
I
to the beginning
love
of
you.
this.
Back there is my Nova.
Now it's starting. There's no video description. I'm going to press S for the SAP key.
Sap on.
A winding dirt road cuts through the sloping field towards a dilapidated clapboard farmhouse perched on a grassy knoll. In front of it, John in a checkered shirt attends to a broken fence. Alongside him,
press
a heavier
S,
man, Robert,
sample off.
stands.
It turns it off. If I press C,
Closed captions on.
now we're doing closed captions.
Closed captions off.
I can
Video pause. Volume 90%.
to pause that. And we also have a key to give you the hotkeys for the video player. So suppose you've paused a video and you're like, wait, I don't remember all the hotkeys for this. I should be able to press the question mark key.
Dialogue. Player shortcuts.
And now there's a little window that pops up that says player shortcuts. So I'm going to press down arrow.
Heading level 1 player shortcuts. Display keyboard controls. Question mark. Play/pause P or space bar.
Play/pause, P or spacebar.
Skip ahead 30 seconds rightwards arrow.
Skip ahead 30 seconds, right arrow.
Skip ahead 60 seconds shift plus rightwards
And I
arrow.
can press shift right arrow to skip ahead by 60 seconds.
Skip back 15 seconds.
And I can read this just like any other document.
K.
So I can
Kilo.
read this letter by letter.
I. P. Space.
I can read it word by word.
Skip. Back. 15 seconds.
I could also copy it if I want to copy it and save it somewhere in another document. And I'm going to press escape to close this shortcuts list.
The Wiz Live. Xfinity stream. Now playing. The Wiz Live.
Okay.
Menu.
And I'm going to close the video player by pressing X.
Leaving menus. The Wiz
Now
Live.
that does not close stream. It just closes the player.
The Wiz Live.
So now I'm back
Link skip to main menu.
into the stream app, the main screen. So that's a little bit about the stream app. And again, I have been showing this to you on the web using JAWS with Chrome. As I say, there is a version of this for iOS, Android, and the Fire tablet called Xfinity Stream. It's obviously different on a touchscreen device. So as an example, if you want to turn video description on, there's a button that'll say something like playback and language options. And you can double tap that. And once you do that, if video description is available, you'll see that as one of the options, and you can double tap that. but all of the features are basically there. It's just a little different on a touch screen, but it's kind of cool on the Windows app because you can just use the keyboard to arrow and tab and all of that. So I really like that. So that is a demo of the Xfinity Stream app on the web. And one other final streaming option that we have is something called Flex. So there are people who only want internet without cable TV. And for a device like that, there's a box which is actually free that you can get from us that allows you to access a service from Comcast called Flex. Flex currently doesn't have all of the local channels and as many of the live channels, but it has a lot of on-demand content. So you can watch a lot of TV shows and movies through Flex, and there's no charge for that. I think, though, that you have to have Xfinity internet in order for that to work. So if you're purchasing Comcast service and you're only purchasing internet and you don't want the cable TV option on X1, you can always get Flex at no cost. Again, there are things on Flex that you don't get, such as most of the channels. So you're not necessarily going to get PBS and your CBS affiliate, or the Food Channel and all of that. So that's it, and I'll be glad to hang around later on when it's time to ask questions. This is the end of my demo for now. Jason, I guess I'll kick it back to you if you want to introduce Shelly.
Link skip to main.
Oh, wait, before you do that,
Meeting controls.
I should
Mute.
stop sharing my screen. Are you guys still hearing my computer?
No,
Okay. All right, so it's not coming through anymore?
not right now, is it now?
That's good. I told it to stop the screen share. Yeah, okay, screen sharing is stopped. That's good. That would be really embarrassing if you guys were like hearing my computer while she was doing the demo. Okay, I'm done. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me and listening.
And now we have
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, David. We certainly do appreciate it. That was definitely a very informative presentation regarding the Xfinity Stream service. And just for the benefit of those who are not on Xfinity and have other providers here in our local area, which is West Palm Beach, we realize we have people calling in from other areas, and we're glad to have everybody joining us. There are other providers out there. We can't speak for them individually, obviously, but for those with other providers such as AT&T, there's some others as well. They all might have some type of accessibility products that are similar to Xfinity. And you would, if you're not familiar with them, I would definitely encourage you to check out your local provider, whoever you may have in your area, and see what kind of services they offer as well. So thank you very much, David, as well. Also, when we were doing our introductions, I completely forgot to, and I do apologize, I did not mention our moderator, I don't believe, today, who I believe I did, but just for the benefit of those who didn't hear it, we have Dixie Theory, who is monitoring our meeting today, allowing people come in, and we'll be assisting with raising hands and all that when we get to that point. So if I didn't mention her, I apologize for that. With that being said, we'd like to move on at this time. And next up, we have Shelly Sawyer, and Shelly will be demonstrating to us some of the services, streaming services that she uses on a regular basis. And that will be in the form of Hulu and Netflix. And with that, we'd like to turn the floor over to Shelly. Shelly, it's all yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jason. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There's a little bit of echo in this room, and I can't get the microphone much closer to me, and I don't talk real loud usually. I want to thank Jason for giving me the opportunity to do this. I have never presented anything like this before, so I'm very grateful that he asked me to present something that I truly enjoy doing. So maybe while I'm doing this, I'll forget that I'm doing a presentation and I'll just be playing with Hulu, which I love to do. I'm going to turn my iPhone up.
Mail. No unread emails.
Can everyone hear it?
Double tap to open.
Can y'all hear my phone?
Yes.
Okay. I love to do things the easy way. So open Hulu.
Hulu.
Okay. You can do it. I'm presenting this as a person with no vision. Obviously, if you have usable vision, you can look at your screen. You can access your app any way you want. If you know where it is, you can tap on your screen and find it. I just like to get Siri to open the apps. It's just quicker and more efficient for me. And now when Hulu opens,
Hulu button.
And I hope I slowed my phone down enough. I usually run it faster.
Menu. Top of the screen. Manage cast selected. All. But TV shows.
You can,
button.
This is mainly your home screen. You can browse.
Movies, button.
You can browse.
Pause, button.
I don't know what that is.
4
That's
of 4.
something new. It's POVs, and that's kind of new. I haven't seen it before a couple of weeks ago, so I've never gone in there.
Outsiders on W play.
So
button.
it kind of
Details,
shows what's
button.
current.
View more options.
What I
button.
do down at the bottom of
3
the
of 3.
screen, like with most apps, you have your tabs.
Tab bar. Selected. Home.
So
tab.
you'll have
1 of
home,
5. My stuff.
my
tab.
stuff.
2 of 5.
These are things that you choose, and you've put in groups of things that you want to watch. So if you tap on that,
Downloads.
whoops.
Tap my stuff. Tap.
Okay.
Downloads.
Whoops.
Tap. Nurses. One
Now,
unwatched.
Nurses
Watch next
is
episode.
a current.
Season 1, episode 5. What size
Can
are your
someone
feet?
tell me when your
43
phone is
minutes.
chattering at you and
New.
you'd kind of like
Button.
for it to stop?
Heading.
How do I do that?
1 of 15.
Just do a 2-finger single tap.
Ah, perfect. Thank you very much, because sometimes it just reads more than I want. Nurses is it's a relatively new show. I found it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm watching it as the episodes become available.
View more option. 268
ER.
unwatched. Watch next
That's
episode. Season 3, episode
So
17.
if I tap
Tribes,
on ER,
45 minutes. Button. Heading. ER. Heading. Logo other. Season 3, episode 17.
this is the
Tribes.
episode
Genie treats.
that I'm currently ready to watch. I've gone through seasons 1, seasons 2, and I'm in the middle of season 3. And I'm I binge watch quite often. And I'll sit and spend a whole afternoon.
Watch next episode. Season 3, episode 17. Button. What next episode? Loading. ER. Season 3, episode 17.
That's what you do best. If Peter can't use your talents, my team can.
So why'd you go ahead and take it?
The MCATs? For me? Just wanted to see if I was good enough. Hey, sweetheart.
All right.
You're a young doctor learning.
ER. Up next. View more up. View more up. View the good doctor.
I'm not finding my player. Here
Double
we
tap
are.
to toggle control close X airplane but set rewind pause button A.
Okay.
Pause.
One of the things that I like about Hulu and Netflix is you do have access to your player, and you can access the buttons. And so some of them, and I've tried several streaming apps, you can bring it up and it'll start playing, but there are no buttons. You can't pause it. You can't fast forward. With this one,
Rewind 10 seconds. Button. Play. Button. Fast forward 10 seconds. But player timeline.
and it'll
Elapsed
show you
time,
where you are.
41 seconds. 1% complete.
Now,
Adjustable.
that's adjustable. So if you slide
Swipe
your
up or
finger
down with one.
up, or down, you can move it in larger increments. So you can jump up by percentage. You're in the middle of something and somehow you lost your place and you don't really want to back up 5 or 10 seconds. You just want to move, and you can do that. Now I'm going to get out of this.
Player, close player, but close button.
One of the things that I should probably talk about first before we is this was simple in here. Now my Hulu account is actually my son's account. So what we agreed to do, I had a Netflix account, which I share with him. He has a Hulu account, which he shares with me. So I have never accessed Hulu on my computer, and I didn't open the account or start it. I just went in to the App Store, downloaded the app, and then signed in with his sign in. And so when you go to the App Store, you'll find Hulu. And I think that probably all you're going to need to do is just download and install the app, and then it's going to bring up your usual, you'll create a username and a password. And then there is at the bottom with your tabs.
Selected episodes.
Whoops,
Button.
I have to get out of ER.
Add to my stop. Start. Watch progress. Watch. Close. Button. My stuff. Heading.
There's a search tab. And sometimes you don't want to browse through everything there is. You want to search for something. And I do not have my keyboard in here, and I don't use the onboard keyboard because I don't have any luck with flat screen keyboards. But you can search for anything you want, and it will either bring it up because it's available, or it will say no search results found. And you really don't know what Hulu has to offer unless you look for it, or you just want to browse. You can browse by genre. I can run and get my keyboard if there's something that someone wants me to search for. I have several things. That's really...
Tab bar, home, selected, my stuff, downloads.
There's
tab,
also downloads. Now I do have, you can tap on downloads.
Downloads.
Because any program will give you the option to download it. Let's say maybe you're traveling and you're in the middle of a TV show, and you might or might not have access to wireless, so you can download episodes right to your phone, and you can pull them up in your downloads. It'll
see what's download the practice. Shelly, 298 megabytes.
That tells you how many megabytes you have downloaded.
The practice.
I have
season 7, episode 21, Baby Love.
2 episodes of The Practice are downloaded to my phone. So anytime I go into Hulu, I can just tap on the downloads folder. It brings up what I have downloaded so that I don't have to look for it. I don't have to go into my stuff and swipe through all of that because I've downloaded it to the phone and can just bring it up.
Shelly, The Practice, season 7, episode 21, Baby Love. Play The Practice. Button.
I can play it, or I can manage the download. So if
download complete.
It says that the download is complete. If you download something, it will stay in your phone for 30 days and then it expires, but you can re-download it anytime you want. If you started watching it, it will expire, I think it's 48 hours after you. So if you don't watch all of it, it goes away, but you can go back and get it anytime you want. And one of the options let's see.
Tab bar, home, my stuff.
Let's see what we have in my stuff.
Nurses, 1 unwatched. Watch next episode. Season 1, view more options. View more options.
View more options.
Nurses,
I have 1 episode of Nurses.
View more options.
More options.
Dismiss options menu. Nurses. Go to series details.
You can go to series details, which if you tap on that, it's going to take you to the show. It'll explain a little about it. It will tell you how many seasons, how many episodes there are. You can tap on any of that and get your
Remove
information.
from my stuff.
You can remove it
Button.
from your stuff.
Share this item.
You can
Button.
share it, and I don't know how to do
Tap
that.
to share this item.
I don't see
Dismiss
download.
options menu.
Dismiss options menu.
My stuff. Button. Selected. TV shows. Movie. Expire. Networks. Nurses. One on watch. View more option. Nurses. One on watch. Heading. Nurses on NBC. Season 1 Episode 5. What size are your feet? New. Image. Watch next episode. Starring. TV 5. Remove from my share. Like. Button. Dislike. Selected. Episode. You may also like extras.
And I'm not
Season
finding
1.
downloads,
Season
so
1,
I'm not
Episode
sure.
1.
Be
Incoming.
quiet. I'm not sure. Sometimes downloads, you have to, sometimes it does play tricks on you and you just have to kind of look around. This is teaching me patience. I'm learning not to throw my phone down when I get upset because it's not doing what I want it to do immediately. You might see something one time and then the next time you go in it, you have to look for it. It will, usually it's quite reliable, but every now and then it will throw tricks. There should be a download button here that will let me download the episode.
Season 1.
And right now
Dislike.
I'm not finding
Button.
it.
Like. Share. But remove from my stuff.
And I
5.1.
don't want to do that.
TVPG. Starring. Watch new. Season. Nurses. Button. Close. Button.
So
My stuff.
I closed it
Heading.
and now I'm back to my stuff. And I don't
Button.
have a lot of things in my stuff because usually I just find something and
Selected. TV shows. Movies. Expire. Networks. Nurses.
I have nurses
View more option.
or
200.
ER.
View more option. Rome. 21
Rome.
on watch.
Okay.
Resume episode.
This is a show, it's called Rome. One of the things about Hulu, Hulu has what they call extras. And these are your premium channels, HBO, HBO Max, Stars, and you pay extra for those. Brian chose to get HBO, and I don't know whether HBO Max was something separate, but this means that I can also pull up HBO programming and watch it. So I've started Rome and I've started The Sopranos, which many of you might remember was on years ago and I had never seen it. And I thought, oh, wow, I haven't really started The Sopranos yet, but it is in my stuff. Game of Thrones is on there. Anything that HBO has shown, if they haven't pulled it off of their programming list, you can, if you have paid for the HBO extra, you can watch it. So I have just a wealth of entertainment that is available to me. And how this started, when I first got my phone, I never thought that I'd be doing that. To me, it was going to be too complicated. I didn't have the patience. I just wouldn't be doing it. Well, when COVID came along, I needed things to fill my time. My job went south. And so I thought, well, I'll pick up my phone and I'll learn some new things. And the first thing that I had opened my Netflix account on the computer, but I wasn't really using it much. And so I downloaded the app and I started playing around with Netflix and I found there was a lot of stuff on there. And I started doing it and I thought, wow, this is great. And Brian said, well, I've got Hulu. I'll share my Hulu account with you if you'll share your Netflix account with me. And I just kind of fell into it and I'm still learning as I go, finding new things, learning new options that it has. And I just kind of play with it as I go along. And I have found that I just really, really enjoy it. I almost enjoy it too much because I'm spending time with my phone and my Bluetooth headset when I should be doing other things like keeping the house up. But it does provide a lot of entertainment. And if you have time that you want to fill, and I also enjoy it because a lot of my TV preference is for older programming. I don't really care much for a lot of the modern stuff. And so I'm able to find, I guess you noticed I have things like ER and The Practice, and these things date back to, the 90s and the early 2000s. And that's the kind of programming, and I don't really require, it doesn't have described video. A lot of these programs don't, but in those days, you didn't need it as much because it was easier to follow along with what was going on. So I find a lot of the older TV shows, older movies, things that I enjoy more than the modern viewing. So it's provided me with a lot of entertainment. We can look at, how am I on time, Jason?
Jason, you have a good hour.
Oh gosh, I don't want to talk that long.
Well, we're going to do some Q&A at the end too. So
Yeah, you're okay. You got a little bit more time.
Okay.
All right.
App switcher. Hulu calendar. Third.
Open Netflix.
Netflix. 11:57 a.m. Status. Selected. Shelley. Button. Blue
Now,
sky.
when this
Moon.
comes up, it says,
Edit. Button. Selected.
it
Shelley,
asks who's
button.
watching,
Brian. Button. Moon.
and it
Night
shows now.
sky.
It always
Selected.
selects
Shelley,
me, but
button.
I double
Loading.
tap it anyway,
Target selector.
just to make sure that
No
it
active
knows
category.
I'm the one that's watching. And this presents a little bit different menu. It says no active category. So that's telling me that I haven't really chosen anything that I want to watch.
Account settings. TV shows.
TV
Button.
shows, you have TV
Fit
shows, movies.
Button. Selected. Categories. Button. Night Stalker.
Where's my list?
Target account TV movie. Selected. Category. Night Stalker. Number 1 in the my list. Button.
All right.
Add to
I
my
always
list.
choose my list usually because
My
these are
list.
things that I've added to my list, and I might be in the middle of more than one program. So I double tap on my list.
Info. Play. Previews. Heading. Bridgerton. Button.
Now, one of the things about Netflix
Show
is
preview.
it
Adult.
will give
Jewelry.
you the opportunity
Wedding.
to previews, and I find that kind of confusing because it'll jump from preview to preview, and it might tell you what it's showing you, but it might not. So, and it'll like show you a lot of previews of a lot of different shows or movies, and it will automatically jump from one to the next until you close it. So I have
Outlander.
things
Button.
in my list.
The Last Kingdom. Button. Night Stalker. The Hunt for a Serial Killer.
I don't
Button.
remember putting that in there. I guess
Show
I
preview.
did though.
The Crown. Button. Virgin River. Button. The Queen's Gambit. Medici. Button.
Actually, that's
Show
Medici.
preview. Adult. Imposters. Button. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Button. Lupin. Button.
I'm not sure what that is.
Designated Survivor.
Designated
Button.
Survivor.
Marco Polo. The Magicians.
The
Button.
Magicians.
Cobra Kai.
I don't-
The Blacklist. Bling Empire.
Actually, I
Button.
need to go through and edit my list
Show
because
preview.
there are
Adult.
things in here that I
Performance.
don't think I put in
Alias
here.
Grace. Ozark. Button.
So
Chilling Adventure. Virgin River. The Last Night Stop. The Crown.
The Crown,
Button.
this is a story about
Show preview.
Queen
Adult.
Elizabeth.
Clothing. Virgin River. The Crown. Button.
We'll tap on it and see.
Selected. The Crown.
Years ago, I discharged my last duty as king and emperor.
You firm, just lay down the law. I know Winston Churchill and all that, but remember who you are. You, the Queen of England.
She is the job. She is the essence of your duty.
One has to ask oneself, what is the purpose of the crown? What is the purpose of the monarchy?
The crown must
See if I can close this
always
now.
win.
Now this program,
Virgin River. The Close. Button.
The Crown does have
Night
described
Stalker.
video.
The Hunt for a
Outlander has described video. Several of these do. Sometimes you don't know until you go in there. I have my described video turned on automatically. So if a show offers described video, it will start playing immediately, usually. But there is an option in each program. You can go into your audio and subtitle options, and you can turn it on there as well. It isn't really difficult once you get the courage to go in to download the app and explore it. You really I find both of these to be quite accessible, and I enjoy them both. I use Prime Video some, but I'm not at all as familiar with it. I've only actually gone in there a couple of times, so I'd rather not really get into it because I'm not familiar enough with it that I'd want to present it. So unless, well, I guess if any of you have questions, I'll stay here and I'll be happy to answer them if I can. So and thanks again, Jason. I've enjoyed doing this, and like I say, if there's anything that I haven't covered, because I could easily have forgotten something. So that's it for me.
Okay.
And I'm going to mute.
All right. All right. Well, thank you very much, Shelley. Can I be heard okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Just want to make sure. All right. Yeah, we really want to thank Shelley for putting on that wonderful presentation. And both Hulu and Netflix are apps that have been around for a number of years, and they have really improved as far as usability and accessibility. When these apps first started, I remember that they were really not useful at all for people who were blind and visually impaired. I know I tried them at one time a long time ago, and they just weren't worth anything. But now they're really nice and accessible and have nice layouts and all that. So really wanted to thank you. Before we move on to our last presenter, which actually will be myself, and I'm going to talk about a couple of different services that I use. Just as a quick note, I have been told that some people are raising their hands for questions. Just as a quick reminder, questions will be done after this last presentation. So if you could please hold off on your questions, we will be glad to answer any questions that you may have, if we're able to, of course, from any of our presenters today. So with that being said, I'd like to kind of move on now, and I'd like to talk about two apps with their services that I use. And one of them is one that has just grown in popularity incredibly fast, and that would be Disney Plus. And I have to say that they have really grown extremely quickly, both in their capabilities as far as their catalog and as far as accessibility goes. When they first came out, the app was not very accessible. And even though there are still some room for improvement, of course, all apps have room for improvement. They have really made great strides as far as their use, both in with people with accessibility issues such as screen readers, and I've even been told magnification as well. So they've really made the interface a lot nicer to work with. And the nice thing about Disney is everybody's heard of Disney. Even if you don't have Disney Plus, everybody is familiar with Disney. The Disney name is just synonymous with everybody. Of course, the first thing you think of is Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and it just kind of really grows from there. And of course, what Disney has really kind of gone with, and they bought the rights to, and they've really just ran with this idea, is their Star Wars franchise part of it. So they have all of the Star Wars movies. They've come out with The Mandalorian, which I'm not a big Star Wars person myself, so I'm not I'm not as familiar with a lot of these things, but apparently everybody was talking about the Mandalorian series, and I was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. But for those who are Star Wars aficionados, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So hopefully someone can educate me down the road. But with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, hang on for 1 second. I'm going to have to unlock my phone here. And, okay. All right. So there we go. All right. So I have my iPhone unlocked, and I am also using my iPhone here. So I'm going to try and point my microphone as best to my speaker as possible. So I hope y'all can hear this.
Calendar, Thursday, January 21st.
And how does that sound if I do this?
Wallet.
That sounds good?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I didn't do a sound check with that beforehand, so now I know that works good. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and open up Disney Plus, the app. I already have it obviously installed. I'm signed in. Open Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Okay, so
Disney Plus.
all
Heading.
right. So I am signed in. Like Shelly, I piggyback off of a friend account, my friend's account. I don't condone that for everybody, but you are able to share your account. The nice thing about these services, you can share your accounts with other people. They actually, it's not illegal. They actually do allow you to have several people under one account. So that's a nice thing. So we're not trying to trying to tell you that something's illegal when it's not, but that's what I do with Disney Plus. Although if my friend didn't have it, as much as I love this service, I would actually pay for it myself. And by the way, just as a side note, with all these apps, even the ones we don't discuss or even mention today, they all range in price. For example, I believe, and don't quote me, but I believe Disney Plus just went up $1. So I believe it's $5.99 now. But the nice thing about a lot of these services, like Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, all of them, they actually give you a free trial. So it's not like if you're not familiar with them, you have to pay for them in order to try them out. Nope, they usually give you at least, usually no less, and sometimes more, a 7-day free trial. Just be aware whenever you sign up for a free trial of any service on your device, whether you're using an iPhone, iPad, or even any type of Android device, that at the end, they will charge your card that is on file. So if you don't like a service, you better make a note, set a reminder, do whatever y'all have to do in order to cancel.
It's not easy to cancel
if you
them.
don't want to be billed, because they will go ahead and bill you. The nice thing about all these services, also really quick, is that you are under no obligation to keep them. You're not under a contract or any type of constraint as far as that goes. These are month by month services. Some of these services do offer yearly plans, but they all also offer monthly plans as well. For example, the account that I'm using under my friend's Disney account, she got a pre-sale. This was before the service even launched. So she took kind of a chance, but if you signed up for 3 years, she got like a really big discount. So she pays like a lot less than what it is now, but the price is guaranteed locked in. So anyway, but that's normally there's at least there's always a monthly plan, and there's sometimes a yearly plan. So with that being said, I am on the Disney Plus screen, and I'm just going to swipe right and let you hear some of the categories. And since Disney has several categories, not just Disney movies, of course, they also compose, of course, I mentioned Star Wars, they Pixar, Pixar, you all know that from a lot of movies that you saw, including a brand new movie that just came out called Soul. And I watched it myself on Disney Plus, and it was very good. And these are normally movies that have normally go to the theaters first, and eventually they come to a service like Disney Plus. But with COVID going on, they bypassed the theater on that particular movie and went straight to Disney Plus, and there was no extra charge, and I didn't have to pay 10, 11 bucks for a popcorn and soda. I had my own, so so that was, so that was kind of nice.
5.
Okay, hang on, my phone locked. I was talking.
4.
Hang on.
4.
Sorry about that.
1. 6. 8.
All right.
Disney Plus. Disney Plus. Heading.
All right, there we go. Now we're back in business. So I'm going to go ahead and swipe right through the screen and let you hear kind of how the home screen of the app is laid out. And I am here on my iPhone running the latest version of iOS, which is always recommended when running these apps.
Featured carousel. Adjustable.
Okay, so it says feature carousel. So, and the carousel means the featured categories. So I believe if I maybe swipe up.
WandaVision.
WandaVision. And that is a brand new, I just heard about that the other day. And I had no idea what that was. And I actually started to watch it this morning for the first time. And it's an exclusive Disney thing. It's apparently about this couple who have like superpowers, and it's under the Marvel category, which of course Disney owns. I'm going to swipe up. Soul. There's that movie I was talking about. Bro. I'm not familiar what that is. That might be that's obviously another Disney thing.
I Love Dogs.
Oh, dogs. And it keeps going and going. So instead of swiping up, and of course, if you wanted to, you could swipe down to go back and hear the ones you previously wanted. And of course, if there's one of them that you wanted to hear, you would just double tap and a player would come up, which we'll do here in a little bit. So I'm going to swipe right.
Disney.
Now I'm going to hear about the different categories. Okay. Those were like featured shows. Okay. All from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, all of them. But now this is the various categories that you can pick stuff from. So there's Disney,
Pixar,
Marvel,
Star Wars, National
Geographic.
Recommended for you. Heading.
Okay, and then based on your watching habits, and I notice that a lot of apps do this, they pay attention to what you have watched in the past. And based on what you have watched, they actually recommend through the app things that you might be interested in. So if I swipe right through that.
Frozen 2.
No
description available.
Okay. If I swipe right.
Onward. 2 red flags against a white background.
Okay. And it's giving me what you're hearing afterwards is you're hearing like a little description. And the iOS has really been good about doing that, along with other operating systems and other services where for people who are visually impaired, they try to describe kind of the image or picture that's on the screen.
Moana. A white goat lying on a white surface.
Okay. So Moana. And there was a new Moana that was just released, and that is on Disney Plus.
Toy Story 4. 2 red flags against a white background.
Toy Story 4.
High School Musical. A photo containing a dog.
Okay, High School Musical. Now I can keep going.
Zootopia. 2 red flags against a white background.
Zootopia, that was cute.
Aladdin. A photo containing a dog.
Okay, so I'm going to stop on Aladdin, okay? And I'm going to double tap on that.
Back button.
Okay, so I opened up that window with a 1-finger double tap, by the way. and we're going to see if we could play it. Now, the cool thing is that a lot, but not all content on Disney Plus has audio description. Please let me preface that. A lot of it, but not all of it, has audio description. In fact, by default, audio description is actually turned off. So in order to get audio description to play on Disney Plus, if you're using an iPhone, first you would have to go into your settings of your iPhone under accessibility, turn audio descriptions on, and then while the movie is actually playing on Disney Plus, you have to go under audio. I believe it's under audio and subcaptions, and there's a feature to turn that on. I already have all that on already. So if Aladdin is described, which I certainly hope it is, we should be able to play it. So I'm going to swipe right.
Aladdin. Image. A blue light shining on a rocky surface. Play. Button.
Okay, so we're going to double tap on play here and see if we can get Aladdin to play, and hopefully it will have audio description, and we'll play just the first minute or two of this movie.
Play. Landscape.
Stars twinkle in the night sky above a blanket of white clouds. Lying far below are hillside towns and villages, their lights scattered beside a glimmering river winding down from the distant horizon. At the boundary wall of this magical kingdom stands a magnificent fairy tale castle with the river flowing through it. A flag flutters atop its tallest spire as fireworks explode in the cloud-streaked sky. Glittering lights arc over the castle turrets. Disney. The sun blazes in the sky over a calm sea. A gigantic ship with huge sails glides across, with a much smaller and modest ship sailing by its side. A young boy and girl are aboard the smaller ship with their father and mother. They hurry over to the starboard side to get a closer look at the enormous ship.
Over there! Wow! Their ship is so big. Wish ours was that fancy. I'd be so happy if ours was that fancy.
Why is that? Because it looks better? This boat has seen us through many a storm. May not look like much, but it has something theirs never will.
What? Wood rot and rats?
Are the children learning something, dear?
It is unclear. All right, sit, children. I think it's time that I told you the story of Aladdin, the princess, and the lamp.
What's so special about a lamp?
This is a magic lamp.
Maybe if you sing. It's better when you sing.
No singing. It's been a long day.
The father stands as he starts to climb up some steps.
Oh, imagine a land. It's a faraway place.
Okay.
With a carrot.
And I did a 2-finger double tap that actually will pause. And if I do a 2-finger double tap again, there is a I can unpause it. There actually is a pause button, but that's a nice little voiceover shortcut for those who are not familiar. And what's nice is if I go into, I'm going to see here, if I go into, this gets a little tricky, but I believe if I go in here,
Back.
yep, okay, this is where I want to be. Good. I double tapped on the middle of the screen, and this brings up the player window.
Back. Button. Audio and subtitles menu. Button.
Okay, so there's our audio and subtitles. Okay, and that is where you would turn on or off video description and closed captioning, by the way. So for those who are hard of hearing, a lot of these movies also offer closed captioning as well. That was something I did not mention in the beginning. And I believe this is the new Aladdin movie, actually. If I'm wrong about that, someone can correct me. Of course, there's the old Aladdin, but I believe this is the new Aladdin movie that was out a while ago. So if I just go through this screen really quick.
Button. Play. Button.
So there's our play and pause button. So right now it's pause. If I double tapped on that, it would actually play it.
Button. 1:49.
Okay, and it tells me 1:49. It tells me the current position. So it's 1 minute and 49 seconds.
Minus 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 21 seconds.
Okay, so that tells me how long the actual movie is in duration, which is kind of nice.
Direct touch area, 1:49. Adjustable.
Okay, and that is where you would actually, although I had some trouble with that, that's actually where you can, you're supposed to be able to like slide up and down. Well, I guess since it's in landscape mode right now, you'd have to swipe left and right. They always put the movies in landscape mode. They for better viewing, better viewing. Um, they're supposed to you're supposed to be able to jump, backwards and forwards through the different movie. If you missed a part, you can always rewind, and of course, if you want to get to a certain part, you can always fast forward as well.
Direct touch area. Direct touch area.
And that's actually, oops, didn't mean to unpause that. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to the back
Minus
button.
2 0. Play button. Audio ends button. Back button.
Okay.
Back. Portrait. Aladdin. Image.
Okay.
A blue light shining on a rocky surface.
All right. So now I didn't go any further than the play button. I want to kind of see what's past there so you can kind of hear what's there as well.
Resume. You have 2 hours, 14 minutes remaining. Button.
Okay. So there's a resume button. So if I leave this and come back, it's not going to start at the beginning. It's going to stop. It's going to start right where I left off. So which is kind of nice.
Add the current title to your watch list. Button.
Okay. So like a lot of these popular streaming apps, they have favorites or my stuff that was appeared in Shelly's presentation. And this is the watch list. It all means the same thing. Your favorites, my stuff, the watch list, whatever you want to call it. So this is like your favorites list of movies.
Download the current title. Button.
Okay. Nice feature about that, along with some of these other services as well. You can download the current title to your phone. I don't know if it's something that stays on your phone for as long as you want it. But that's kind of nice if you're going on a trip and you can't stream. I mean, like right now we're streaming, we're on Wi-Fi, so we have a nice secure connection. But if you're out somewhere and you're on a trip, you don't always have Wi-Fi, or you don't want to use your data. If you have a data plan, you can download the movie to your phone. Of course, if you're on a tablet as well, same idea. And you can watch it offline, at your own leisure. So, which is kind of nice. The only thing you have to keep in mind with downloading stuff to your device is you're taking up space on your phone, tablet, or whatever device you're using. So just keep that in mind.
Group watch button.
Group watch, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming from what I've been told before, I think that's kind of where you can have several people watch the same movie or same TV show at one time on separate devices, which is kind of cool. So since I share this account with my friend lets me share this with her and I can watch Aladdin together on our separate devices at the same exact time. I've never actually done it, so I'm not entirely for sure how that works, but that's basically the premise behind it.
Details share button.
And
share.
There's a share button, so you can share and tell people what you're watching. You can share it probably via several different methods, by messages, by email. There might be a way of posting it on Facebook and other social media outlets as well. So that's, kind of the way you can do that. So people will say, oh yeah, Jason's watching Aladdin. Well, how do I watch that? And you can do that as well.
Rated PG. 2019. 2 hours. 15 minutes. Romance. Family. Fantasy. Action adventure. Musical.
Okay. So it says PG, so that's obviously the rating. And it's 2019, so that is the newer one, as I kind of expected. And it tells you the total duration of the movie, and it gives you the uh, genres that it falls under, because there's ways of searching on Disney Plus by genre, I believe. And so that's where you would find that movie, under those genres that it did mention.
HD bullet attachment. PNG. File. Bullet 5.1.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what that is. That's some type of picture, and iPhone doesn't do a very good job of describing that.
From Disney comes the thrilling live-action adaptation of Aladdin. Selected. Suggested.
Okay.
Tab. 1 of 3.
All right. So, and that just gives like a little description. Not a very good description, if I have to say myself, but they could have done a little bit better of that. I guess they probably figure most people, if you know Aladdin, then you pretty much know what it's about. So, anyway, then we get into, down at the bottom of the screen, we have some tabs. And the first one, and it is selected already, is suggested. And that's what we've been looking at, all suggestions, things that you may want to watch based on what you watched previously, or the different categories that are just recommendations.
Extras. Tab. 2 of 3.
Extras is something that I have never looked into. Like a lot of the other apps that were mentioned, that especially that Shelley mentioned, they all have extra bonus content as well. I'm not quite sure what's under there, but that's something, that Disney, puts up little extra things that you can watch, like behind the scenes things of that nature.
Details. Tab. 3 of 3.
And details. So I want to see if I go under there.
Selected. Details. Tab.
Okay.
3 of 3.
So I've highlighted that, or selected it rather.
Xfinity Connect.
Oops.
Xfinity Connect.
Hush. Okay. And I'm going to go to the top left of the screen.
Aladdin. And back. Button. Back. Resume. Add the current title to your... Download the current title.
Well, apparently selecting that did not do anything. Let's go to...
Add the current title. More options. Access watch list. Settings. And change profiles.
Oh, okay. This is where the under details.
Offline download. Search. Home. Back. Button.
That's what I was looking for. Okay. First, I thought by selecting details, it didn't do anything. I was like, well, what's the point? Now I see where it is. Okay. So under details, you have other options.
Home.
Okay. Home will actually take us back to that screen that we were previously on.
Search.
Search. And search is where you can search for a specific title, a specific genre, a specific category, like Star Wars, Pixar, Disney, things like that.
Offline downloads.
Offline downloads. And that's where that came in before, where it said download the current title. If I downloaded this movie, this is where I could find, if I double tapped on that, that's actually where I could find the movie that I downloaded.
More options. Access watch list. Settings. And change profiles.
Okay, so then there's miscellaneous settings. There's more settings that we won't get into with that. Talks about, your profile and all that, and your settings of the app and whatnot. So what's really cool, and the nice thing about, especially, a lot of these apps are always adding new and newer content. And what I mean by new content, I don't mean by like brand new stuff that's come out. And I'll give you a perfect example. I was just actually told for the presenter who gave the presentation first, David, who was actually my brother. Him and I both love the Muppets. Okay. And the Muppets, there is some Muppet stuff on here already for any of our Muppet fans, meaning Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. And he just told me, he just sent me an article that starting February 19th, I believe, that the original Muppet Show that aired in 1976, all 5 episodes will be available for free on Disney Plus, which I am absolutely thrilled about because that is what I grew up with. I grew up, and a lot of my childhood was back in the 80s. So obviously that was something I watched on a regular basis. So then I will have all episodes and all 5 seasons to watch at my leisure and go back to my childhood. And yeah, I'm in my 40s, but I guess I'm considered a big kid. So that's why I love a lot of this Disney stuff as well. So that's just a little bit about Disney Plus. Obviously, the Star Wars, I mentioned Star Wars, the Star Wars franchise is huge to Disney. In fact, they have dedicated an entire section of one of their theme parks in Disney. I believe it's at Hollywood Studios and Disney World up in Orlando. They dedicated that to a whole Star Wars section, and that's a whole other story. But that just shows you how big Star Wars is to the Disney name. So, and that's just a little bit about Disney Plus. Of course, we can get into a lot more, but in the interest of time, I want to kind of move on.
12:32.
Okay.
But 4.
I have
And
a question.
I want to just run. What's that?
Caroline would like everybody to go to the list and announce who they are.
Okay.
4.
Can we get through this and then we will?
Sure. Sorry.
Okay.
1.
That's all right.
1. 9. 6. 8.
All right. All right.
11.
Didn't mean to lock my phone. I meant to get out of it and just go to home screen. Okay. Just really quick, I want to run through the last app that I'm going to be presenting on. And that is a brand new service that just came out literally a few days after the new year. So it's only been out in this country here, from what I understand, only a few weeks. And this I did sign up for, and I am paying for it, called Discovery Plus. And Discovery Plus is all the on-demand content from all of the Discovery and Discovery brand cable channels. And just to kind of run through them, it's all the Discovery Channel, Discovery Kids, the Food Network, the Cooking Channel, Home and Garden TV, and I believe Animal Planet as well. So I just want to run through that a little bit. Open this Discovery Plus.
Search the App Store button.
Open Discovery Plus.
Discovery Plus.
There we go. Okay.
For you.
All right. Using Siri to open up things sometimes is very hit and miss type of thing. So anyway, and unfortunately, not like the others that we were talking about, unfortunately, as far as I know, none of the content, at least at this time, has audio description. Unfortunately. But I just want to run through this kind of briefly. This was actually a fairly accessible app, minus some unlabeled buttons, but I'm sure over time they will improve on that as well.
Relationships.
Okay, so first we get into their categories from all their different channels and their genres. So there's relationships,
True crime,
home,
food, paranormal and unexplained,
lifestyle,
adventure and exploration, documentaries, nature and animals, science and technology, automotive, Magnolia Table with Joanna Gaines, image, a poster with text and
Magnolia Table. I'm not quite familiar with that. I believe that's a new thing they came out with.
New on Tuesdays. Joanna Gaines shares favorite recipes from her kitchen.
Okay. So those, now I want to go back and I'm going to jump to a category that I believe just about all of us on here can relate to, which is food.
Science, nature, document, advent, lifestyle, paranormal and food.
Okay, I'm going to double tap on food.
Food. Paranormal food. Food.
Okay.
Trending in food.
Here we go. Trending in food. Okay.
Magnolia Table with Joanna Gaines. Button. Worst cooks in America. Button. Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Okay. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. And that's a very interesting show. If you're not hungry if you watch that show and you're not hungry when you start it, you probably will be by the time you're done. So I'm going to double tap on that.
Diner. Back button.
Okay, and I'm just going to swipe right.
Diners, drive-ins, and dives. Season 1, Episode 1 Classics. Guy Fieri rolls out for some classic American grub. Resume. Button. Favorite dad. Button. F. Episodes. About the show. Episodes.
Okay, so it forgives you the first episode, and then there's a section called episodes, so you can watch the other episodes of the show.
Favorite dad. Resume. Button.
And it said favorite ad. Of course, then again, you can add it to your favorites or whatever they're calling it here. And since I already started watching the first episode, it wants to resume it. So it's not necessarily at the beginning.
Guy Fieri rolls out. Resume. Button.
Okay. So I'm going to double tap on resume. Of course, this is not the beginning. So I apologize for that. But I'll let you hear just a minute of that show.
Stop. But
Blues Gym, Bicycle Gym.
You just gotta break the code.
Need to beat 17 over on Snagglepuss Bicycle Table.
And Great Greek food in the middle of the desert. What's this doing here?
When I came here, I was broke, and you started doing your own thing.
That's all right here, right now, on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. So here I am in Tarpley, Texas, which is about an hour west of San Antonio. Now, they got about 50 people between signs, as they say. And they got a post office, a general store, and a funky little joint called Mac and Ernie's Roadside Eatery.
I think it's a shack.
Shack. Okay, so we're going to go with shack. It's a shack, all right, next to a creek deep in the Texas Hill Country. Wow. Where self-taught chef Nalene Dillingham, any formal culinary training?
No.
Is cranking out totally rockin' food in an open-air kitchen. What do you do when it rains? Stay out of it?
Speak louder. You have to speak louder.
Tin roof is kind of clicky-clicky. Have you ever thought of maybe getting to, I can talk to the people at the general store, maybe buy them out?
No.
Move indoors?
No, it would change all of the beauty.
I think the flavor would
The
change.
flavor.
Wow, that's good. And the flavor's right on point.
who would have ever thought to fry a lamb chop?
It's New Zealand lamb, country fried, Texas style.
It's so moist, so juicy.
Local quail in an ancho chili sauce.
Tender, wonderful, juicy.
Tuna in ginger butter.
It's perfect.
But the dish Nalene started with was this one, the cabrito burger.
Burger is wonderful.
And if you don't speak Spanish, cabrito means goat. You heard me, goat.
It's 100% ground cabrito, and I raise the goats.
Nalene, her husband, and another couple needed a market for their goats.
Send out this order.
The result, this restaurant in a shack and this burger.
I call them cabrito burgers because if you say goat burger, it doesn't have the same
It doesn't
ring.
musky.
I wanted to call it a McMutton, but we know who would sue me over that. Would you like to cook one?
I want to make one, though.
Well, no, I can't let you do that.
Why?
Because I won't tell you what's in it.
So that's Guy Fieri. He does a lot of different shows on the Food Network. He owns several restaurants, so he's very well known in the food and restaurant industry as well. So you can definitely check that out. There's also a way of actually searching for specific shows as well. And I ran across actually a whole show on roller coasters, and for all our thrill seekers out there. And that was done, I believe, I don't know which channel that came off of. They kind of lump them all together. So whatever show or whatever channel that you like from the Discovery line of networks, chances are they're going to have it. And it being a brand new app that just launched, they will, I am sure, be adding a ton of different and more interesting content. They're just kind of getting going now. Just to let you know, I do know the price of Discovery Plus. There actually is 2 plans. Just to mention them, they are $4.99 a month and $6.99 a month. The only difference is if you want to watch commercials or not. If you want to go commercial free, it's $6.99, and if you don't mind a few commercials in your show, it's $4.99. And they did give a 7-day free trial on that. So I know we've covered a lot of different content, a lot of different apps. There are so many that we haven't mentioned that we just simply don't have time for today. And if we did, like I said, we would be here for hours and hours. So unfortunately, we can't do that. So, and I know you all might be using some type of streaming service out there that we maybe didn't even mention here today. So if you are using a service that we did not mention, you're able to use it successfully, your computer, smartphone, tablet, whatnot, we definitely like to hear from you. So at this time, we are going to go ahead and have our questions for any of our presenters. If you have a comment, we'd love to hear from you as well. So the way we're going to handle this is Dixie will be monitoring for raise your hand. And I would like to kind of go over really brief for those who are familiar with this on Zoom. I know you probably heard it a million times, but this is for the benefit of the people who are not. If you are joining us on your computer, you would do Alt-Y, and that's a keyboard command on your keyboard that will raise your hand. If Dixie recognizes you, to unmute yourself, you would do Alt-A at that point. So first Alt-Y until you're recognized, then Alt-A to unmute yourself. If you're on an iPhone or your iPad, to get to the raise your hand command, on the bottom right, you'll find a more button down on the bottom far right, I believe. And under that menu is raise your hand. And then the mute button was on the main screen, kind of believe either in the middle or towards the left. And if you're on the telephone, we don't want to leave our telephone people out. To raise your hand, it is *9. I know we have several telephone people on here as well, calling in with telephone numbers. So *9 will raise your hand. Once you're recognized,
12:44 p.m.
Once you're recognized, it would be *6 to unmute yourself. So *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself once you're recognized. So with that being said, we'd like to open up the floor to questions. Dixie,
We have
do
a
we
question.
have anybody?
Yeah, from Shelley.
Okay. Shelley, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is just a very quick comment. Thank you, Jason, for pointing out the 2-finger double tap to pause a program. I did not know you could do that, and that is going to come in really handy because sometimes you're hunting all over for the pause button and the controls aren't even shown. So then you have to find the show controls button and double tap on that and find the pause button. So thank you bunches for that. I do appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. Yeah, that's a nice little shortcut. Some people, if you're not a big iOS person, especially a voiceover user, that's something that may not have been ever shown to you.
I did not know.
Oh, right, there you go.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, this is David. That works in most apps, not only for video, but for also other media as well. So it should work for music, anything where there's audio playing. The 2-finger double tap in most cases will pause and then resume.
And that also answers a telephone call, by the way, and hangs up a telephone call. So
that's right.
Hey, yeah. All right. Any other questions, Dixie?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Wow. Either we either impressed you or you guys have no questions, or everybody's doing something else. So
So I have a question.
yes, go ahead.
So are you then like cable free and just used internet for these streaming services? Like, have you cut the cord? No.
Oh yeah. In fact, a lot of people do. Cable itself, and maybe David can talk a lot about this since he's part of Comcast, but just myself, I still have cable TV at home, but a lot of people are actually cutting the cord and going exclusively to these streaming services.
I still have it because I think my son does a lot of Xfinity streaming because he doesn't have a cable hookup in his bedroom. And so he does a lot of, and he will actually Chromecast. He has and I don't know how this works, so don't ask me. There's a device, it's called a Chromecast, and somehow he casts from his phone to his TV. So that like I say, I don't know how it works, but he does that.
Yeah, that was just something we don't have time to talk about. I mean, there's Chromecast, there's actually an Apple TV box. I was going to talk about Apple TV, the service, but unfortunately we ran out of time with that as well, because we did want to allow time for questions here, and we want to kind of end this on time as well. But yeah, so Chromecast, the Apple TV box that you can get, let's see, what's the other? Sling, yeah, and Roku, the Roku stick, the Fire TV stick. All those are your hardware-based streaming services. So they're in lieu of downloading an app, or they're in lieu of having an actual cable box.
The only reason I haven't cut the cable out altogether, because we watch almost no TV, is I don't know how, if let's say I backtracked all the way down to basic cable, if that would ruin things for Brian so that he wouldn't have access to the programming that he enjoys. I don't know whether it would do that or not, so I haven't done it. It isn't going to take much more because the bill keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah.
And it's becoming problematic. So
right.
At some point, I'm going to have to cut back to whatever I can cut back to so that he can enjoy what he likes, and I'm not burdened with a great big cable bill. Right. And I have to have my internet, of course, because I go crazy without my internet.
And that's something you would have to call your provider and check that out and see what your different options are. So of course they don't want you to cut services, but and sometimes actually when you threaten to cut a service, sometimes they may cut you a deal to keep it,
They've done that. They'll scale us. They'll say, oh, we will re-offer you the same promotion that you had, and we'll roll you back to the bill that you had. Because once your promotion runs out, your bill goes up.
Oh, yeah.
The only problem with that is every time they do that, I lose something. It's like now I notice I no longer have QVC, which I thought was a free channel.
Oh, wow.
But we don't have it. And we don't have the basic package. We've got something up from that. I don't have MeTV, which I would dearly love to have.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of good programming on MeTV. And I looked to see if they had an app, but if they do, I couldn't find it.
They do. Oh, believe me, they do.
What am I looking for?
Go to the App Store and just look for QVC.
No, I was looking for, well, I didn't try that, but I looked for MeTV.
Oh, no, there is an app, but it's not what you think it is. Yeah, believe me, that's a different story, but you do have to have a provider. So that's
so much good programming on there. Like I say, I like old stuff. This new stuff leaves me somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a couple more questions.
Okay, go ahead. Who's next?
I think I have one from Pat Moore.
Okay, Pat, go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, are you going to be doing another workshop on those other items you were talking about as far as Chromecast and?
That's something that we can definitely consider. I mean, we can only present so much in a given time, so this almost can be like a multi-part workshop. So actually, I appreciate the suggestion. So we can.
I'm not 100% certain, but I think Chromecast is a pretty visual thing. That's actually a device that lets you cast from your phone to your TV so that you can see it better.
I don't have one, so unfortunately I'm not able to speak about it, but I believe that's kind of the premise behind it. But yeah, it's like the Apple TV. You can start on your phone and share it to your Apple TV box. So Chromecast is almost the same thing. But yeah, Pat, we can, in the future, we can, look into that. And if we have enough content to provide, we can definitely, present like a part 2 on this as well. So, because there is so much in the industry that, like I said, we'd be here for hours trying to present it all. So,
Okay, thanks.
yep, no problem.
Now I have a Faith Annie.
Okay, go ahead. Unmute yourself, please.
Hi. Hi. I agree with that last comment. If we can do a part 2, so just encouraging you if you're thinking about that, or we're not sure whether or not to do that, especially with the Apple TV, since I am assuming most of us were using a lot of the Apple devices. It'd be great for us to have a great knowledge of the Apple-based products on that. So I will say yes to that. My question is more for the gentleman who was presenting on Xfinity. Maybe he can help me with that. With my package that I have on Xfinity, I had to choose a package that would allow me to watch the news, like the CNN, the Fox News, and all that kind of stuff. And although all the other channels that come with it, I don't even watch, or not even anybody in the house really watch. Of all the apps that, I don't know, is there a way for me to be able to get just the news channel with the basic cable, with the basic plan, without having all of these extra channels in the mix? Or
so I'm not familiar with all of the different plans that are out there, and some of them may change from one market to another. So the plans that we might have in my area might be different from the ones that are in yours. So what I would say is to call Comcast, tell them what you want, and see. Off the top of my head, I don't think we have a plan where you can get just the basic package along with CNN. That's not something I'm familiar with, but I don't know all of the different plans that are out there and how they change from one area to the next. My role at Comcast is really about accessibility and not the different packages. So I would say call 800 Comcast or 800 Xfinity and just tell them what you want and see if there's something that matches that.
Okay, so in a way that, thank you for that. Now, in logging in with the stream, am I only able to have access to the channels that I have signed up for, or do I have an option to have other?
Yeah, it's a good question. You would only be able to access the channels that are on your particular package. So if my package doesn't have, let's say, Animal Planet, that means that I wouldn't be able to watch that on stream or the on-demand content from Animal Planet. But if I did have Animal Planet, that channel would be available, as well as the on-demand content from that channel, because a lot of these channels have shows that you can watch on demand and not just live. So whatever channel is on your package, you can watch it on stream.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Annie, and appreciate your comment on doing a part 2 of this presentation as well. So thank you. Any other questions, Dixie?
Yeah, we have an 8889 number.
Okay, whose phone number ends in 8889? Could you unmute yourself? If you're on the telephone, it's *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello. Hey, Jason. John Crossley.
Oh, John, how you doing?
John?
Yes, go ahead.
Good, how you doing? I would just wanted to comment about the Apple TV. I have one. It's very accessible. There is a voiceover on the. It's basically just like using the iPhone. There is a voiceover button on it. You can turn voiceover on and off, and as you scroll through, you can you listen to what you get. And there's different apps you can download. You have to download the apps onto the Apple TV. It's not actual TV. It's actual little box, which I was confused over at first. I thought it was an actual TV that you bought. It's a little black box, I guess, but it doesn't matter what color. It's a little box that you plug into your TV, and that's how it runs. But you download all the apps onto that. There's a little remote that comes with it, and that you can use. You can talk into it, and and then you can also use the voiceover, the descriptive audio. So it works very well for the blind. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, John. Yeah, I actually own an Apple TV as well. And the nice thing about all these things that you plug into your TV, they all connect via the HDMI ports on the back of your TV. So if you don't have one already, you would have to get an HDMI cable, which are very easily obtained. I mean, you can get those like anywhere. And one end usually goes into the TV, and the other end goes into the device, like the Apple TV that you're trying to watch. And you would have to switch your inputs on your TV. I know that gets a little technical. We're not trying to be here, but you'd have to switch the proper input channel to switch to that actual box itself. So, yep. But I appreciate that, John. Any more hands, Dixie?
Yes, we have a Getz, Jay.
Okay. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hi, it's John. John Getz.
Oh, John, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Question for the gentleman from Comcast. You mentioned some of the hotkeys that you can use when you're using Xfinity Stream. My question is, first is, I'm sure it's obvious, you need a wireless keyboard that would be connected to your TV.
Oh, hey, John, thanks for the question. So this is actually for the web app. So you would not be able to use a keyboard for the X1 box. That's not something we support. So what I was using was actually just a regular Windows computer with the app running in Google Chrome.
Got it. So if you were watching on your television, there is no, the hotkey option isn't there, but so you'd have to just use menu and find the different turning video description on and off. The other keys you mentioned, closed captioning.
Yes and no. So you wouldn't be able to use a keyboard, but what you can do with the voice remote is while you're watching a show, I mean, there's a couple of things you can do. You could go into settings and globally enable video description so that you're basically telling the system, hey, whenever a show comes on, if it has video description, just play it. And then you don't have to do it on a show by show basis. But if you don't do that, or if you forget to do that, while you're watching a show, if it has video description, you can use the voice input button on the remote, and you can just say audio description, and it'll automatically turn that on. So it's actually one better because you don't even have to remember a hotkey.
Excellent point. I think also you can hit the B key twice, which would enable and disable audio description for those that know
so
where
hitting
those.
the B key twice will take you, okay, so the B key, if you press it once, goes into an accessibility menu of different options. If you press the B key twice, that will turn voice guidance on and off. So it doesn't turn video description on and off, but it does turn voice guidance on and off. And that's the voice that you hear as you're browsing through the menus. So you can do that. I don't think we have a, there is though, oh, I forgot about the transport bar. So while you're watching a show, I think, and I don't have the TV in front of me, but I think you can press down arrow and there are some options like closed captioning, video description. So it's not quite as quick as, pressing one key, but I think pressing down arrow will move to a list of accessibility options, including audio description, or you can just say audio description and that'll turn it on. And if it
That
is
seems
on
like the
and
easiest.
you want it off, you can just say audio description again, or closed captions, or voice guidance. Whatever you want on or off, you can just say it into the voice remote. So it's almost as good, if not faster, than having an external keyboard anyway.
Excellent, thank you. Follow-up question to that. If you're watching television or on the Xfinity Stream service on the iPhone app or your iPad, again, those hotkeys aren't available, I assume. What would be the preferred method in that case to enable audio description?
Yeah, you're right. I don't think we have enabled those hotkeys for the mobile apps. And I actually think that if it's possible to do it, that we should, for people who are using an external keyboard with their phone or iPad. That being the case, you have two options. So you can, again, go into settings and turn it on globally, or while the video is playing, there are some buttons on the screen.
Yes.
And one of them will say something like language options, I think, or player settings. And when you double tap that, you'll see closed captioning. And if there are subtitles, you'll see languages for that. And you'll also see an audio description option if audio description is available for the app. One thing I will say, and this is something we know about, and it's not really our fault, but we are trying to deal with this. Sometimes you won't see an audio description app, but you'll see a Spanish option or a Portuguese option. And sometimes the channels will put the audio description on those options. That was the case actually with yesterday's inauguration, where there wasn't an audio description option, but if you switch it to Spanish, you got the audio description if you were watching it on NBC. So you might you might not see audio description, and you might be thinking, wow, I guess there's no audio description, but there might actually be on one of the other languages. The X1 box is a little smarter because it's able to search for all of them. We want to get the mobile apps to do the same thing. We just haven't ironed that out yet.
Thank you. Yeah, I did notice, just out of curiosity, I did hit the Spanish key, the Spanish button one time, and it did describe the video. So I was happy with that alternative. So thank you.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Thank you, John. Dixie, any more hands?
Yeah, we have Shelley again.
Okay, Shelley, go ahead.
My question is for David. When the lady earlier was asking about the different channels, if I'm using the Xfinity Stream channel, does it only show me the channels that I have on my plan, or does it show all of them and I just kind of have to know what is in my plan or do it by trial and error? In other words, when it's showing me the channels in the lineup, does it show only what I have, or does it show me all of them and I have to determine that?
Yeah, it will. It does, I believe. Yes, it does show you all of the ones that are available. So if I see, someone was asking about CNN. If I see CNN and I don't have a plan that supports that, I will still see it in the guide, and I'll be able to see all of the shows that are on and get information on those shows. If I try to watch it, it will give some kind of message saying, hey, you're not on a plan that supports this. And I think what it should do, and I haven't done this in a while, so I don't know, but ideally what it should do is it should allow you to actually upgrade your plan if you want to do that, to add that package. But I don't remember what the options are that you get, because you don't have to do everything by calling us. a lot of what we're trying to do is make everything digital. So if you're comfortable using the web or your iPhone or iPad, you should be able to just change your plan and add the channels that you want.
Well, you better know what
or
you're doing
change
and
your
be ready to
internet
pay some
speed,
money.
so you can do it all digitally. I don't know what options it gives you, but it will show you everything, whether you have it or not. Even on my plan, I see a lot of foreign language channels and things that I know I don't subscribe to. And when I double tap it, it'll say, oh, this is not part of your plan.
Okay, thanks.
Right.
Sure.
Sure. Thanks. Dixie, any more hands?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Well, and it's about that time. So in closing, first of all, I wanted to, first and foremost, thank all of our presenters today, David and Shelley. I also wanted to thank Dixie for doing an excellent job of being host and moderating and doing all that great work. And also I want to thank the Florida Outreach Center for allowing us to put this program together. I see by the number of participants we've had coming in and out, we were up to like over 30 semi people. So we had a great turnout today. So I really wanted to appreciate that and thank them for that as well. Just in closing, also to let you all know, the Florida Outreach Center, we're a full training facility here in the West Palm Beach area. We do offer in-person classes in various areas. Myself, I teach the assistive technology. We also do teach Braille, independent living. We have crafts, and we have several support groups as well and outreach programs. Some of it's been scaled back due to COVID, but as soon as things settle down here, we plan on getting back up to full speed. Also, we do have a mailing list, and I encourage all of you to join our mailing list. It's on the groups.io platform, and it's very easy to subscribe. All you would do is send an email, a blank email, to Florida Outreach Center plus subscribe at groups, GROUPS.io. I as in India, O as in Oscar. You'll get an email back asking you to confirm. You would just reply to it and just send it. And then you would be, it would go to the group moderator, which is myself currently, along with some other people helping. And we would approve you right away. And then you would be on there. And we forward announcements about our programs. For example, once this recording has been converted, we will be putting a link to this recording as well. So you'll be able to download it there. And also we do have a transcription service that we're also part of. So for those that are hard of hearing, you can get a full written transcript of the program, of the seminar today. And that will be up there in the next day or two. So
Wow,
we
who
definitely
does your
encourage
transcription?
you. I'm sorry?
Who does your transcription?
It's a service called Otter, OTTOR. And we upload the audio file and it does it automatically. So it's great, you know.
Do they actually hire people to do that?
No, it's all automated. So when you upload a file like this will take a while. So it'll probably take a good hour for that to be transcribed. And then I get a notice saying it's ready to be downloaded. And I just download the content and then I can paste it that way. So
Wow.
yeah.
No wonder we don't even have people doing transcription anymore.
Yeah, no, it's all automated now.
Really
so.
can't be done well without the human error.
I hear you. Everything's going automated, unfortunately. So we will have that available as well on our mailing list. So if you want a full written transcript of what was said today and presented, we definitely encourage you to join our mailing list. And we also post about news and events that are coming up as well, both with our center and our local area here. And we're here in Palm Springs, Florida. For those who don't know Palm Springs, Florida, who are from outside of our area, basically we're West Palm Beach, Florida. So, and for those outside the area, I know most of everybody is probably familiar with West Palm Beach. So that is where we're located. If you'd like to get a hold of us, if you need to call our center for any reason, you can call our center directly. I'll give you our contact information. It's area code 561-642-0005, or you can email us at info_or F as in Frank, O as in Oscar, C as in Charlie, B as in Bravo at bellsouth.net. And that email goes to our executive director, Carolyn Lapp, who will be able to assist you and answer any questions that you may have at that time. So with that being said, unless there's anything else, we're going to go ahead and end our meeting today, and I'm going to end the recording so we can get that recording converted over, and we'll get that link set up and also the transcription as well. So once again, thank you so much to everybody for coming. We appreciate everybody's attendance, their patience, and we will be talking to you on our next workshop. Everybody take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.